السلام عليكم أخواني أعضاء منتدى الثلاثاء، الأخوة الحضور الكرام، ضيوفنا الأعزاء. رحب بكم في أمسية جديدة من أمسيات منتدى الثلاثاء الثقافي، ومحاضرة جديدة يتحفنا بها هذا اليوم الدكتور رشيد حميد عزيز الصفار. نبذة مختصرة عن الدكتور حميد. الدكتور رشيد هو من الأعضاء المؤسسين لهذا المنتدى، وعضو نشط في مجلس الإدارة، وله مساهمات عديدة في هذا المنتدى. الدكتور رشيد من مواليد بغداد العراق، خريج كلية العلوم جامعة بغداد قسم،
ميوت. صوت راح.
وحاصل على الماجستير والدكتوراه من جامعة مانشستر إنجلترا عام 1988 ماجستير، وعام 1992 الدكتوراه. وعمل باحث أيضا في جامعة مانشستر بين عامين 1990 وعام 1992. كذلك عمل باحث في مركز البحوث الماليزية بين عامين 1992 و 1994. يعمل في شركة IBM كبرنسبل تشيف اركتكت for 10 years، و 15 years as a chief technology architect with IBM. له العديد من البحوث والمساهمات والمواضيع المنشورة في مجالات متعددة، مجالات علمية، وفي مجال الاي تي ومجال الماتيريال ساينس. وعضو في member في Open Group since 2010، member of Board of Directors of MET ICG أيضا. وهو قدم لنا العديد من المحاضرات في شتى المجالات العلمية والهندسية والتتعلق بالاي تي والعلوم المختلفة. ومحاضرتنا اليوم بعنوان الكايوس، راح نستمع لها وكلنا شوق لسماع هذه المحاضرة. تفضل دكتور رشيد.
اوكي، شكرا استاذ انمار على المقدمه اللطيفه، وشكرا للاعضاء والاخوان والضيوف حضورهم هذه المحاضره. ان شاء الله ما يعني الوقت 50 دقيقه، بس حاول ان شاء الله نخلص قبل هذا الوقت. موضوع الكيوس انا اختاريته لان بي شغلات انه علميه، بالاضافه الى شغلات عمليه براكتيكال واحنا نعيشها بحياتنا اليوميه. تشوفون انتم على الصوره الاولى هو الفراشه، وهذا موضوع الثيم مالتنا الفراشه، فحاخذ لكم جيرني على سفره على جناح الفراشه ونطير بها خلال 30 سلايد الجايه. الموضوع بالحقيقه بدأت الفكرة مالته واستخدمنا الاي اي من ناحية الماتيريال والمواضيع. الخلاصة مالتها انه اي تغيير طفيف في مكان ما بعيد عنك حيؤدي الى تغيير كبير وجذري من حيوصل يمك. هذا الخلاصة مالت الموضوع مالتنا اليوم. نبدي بالاجنده والتوبيك مالتنا اليوم. يعني حنحكي على البيرفكت وورلد واليوتوبيا، نتكلم شنو الكيوس والباترفلاي ثيوري. لذلك حتشوفون الفراشه هو الثيم مالتنا. يعني الكيوس متعلقه بالنظريات الماثماتكس والفيزيكس والنظريه مالتهم يقولون الباترفلاي ثيوري. فنعرف شنو الكاركترستيك مال الباترفلاي ثيوري وين تطبيقاتها. اخذت تو يوز كيسز، هي بالايكونومي وبالامباير، يعني سقوط الامبراطوريات العظيمه. بالاضافه لان احنا في مرحله اضطرابات او مرحله كيوس، انه شنو الساين مالت الكيوس على مود احنا نتعلم من عندها. بعدين السلايد الاخير انه يعني ورا هاي تسمعوني لي next 40 minutes، يعني what I'm going to leave you with. يعني there is a few tips you can take it away. بالإضافة عندي one graphic slide which حيحكي شلون استخدمت ال AI و how you can put your presentation in the future. فأول شيء نحكي على الهارموني قبل ما نحكي على الكيوس which is تكون احتمال يعني شوية بها sadness وخلينا نحكي على التفاؤل. الهارموني, everybody want to be happy, kids is happy, which is the perfect world when the kids, because there is nothing they carry يعني هم البيوريتي مالتهم. بالإضافة كنا نؤمن بالطبيعة والنيتشر وينجوي النيتشر والهارموني مع النيتشر والتوازن مع النيتشر بيها. بالإضافة يجي الحب والزواج وتكوين الأطفال فنعيش حياة سعيدة. إذا نحكي كلها إحنا على التفاؤل على اليوتوبيا هنا. بعدين إنه من تزرع شجرة أو يجوك أولاد أو you have a kids to grow up, you feel the life it has a purpose in life. And time to celebrate could be success of finishing a university, success you're having a kid, success you getting a job, success you getting married. And then the health of the human being, practicing the health and living is all these part of the ecosystem which is compass the harmony. What about the challenges? Everybody, every day you wake up in the morning, you have a challenge. The challenge could be for able and unable people to do that. So challenge you've been facing with day every, which is part of the harmony of life. And then a human being, we like to think, we like to be productive, we like to be contribute. And then at the end, the sky is the limit. So all of these, happiness, tafa'ul, utopia, there is nothing in the world, everything is going perfect. But suddenly, a chaos come along. So what is chaos? Chaos here basically, I highlight because I'm not going to read all the slides. Is basically there is definite definition, mainly used by mathematical physics, which is basically a small change can have a large unforeseen consequences. That's basically the summary of it. In nature, you have phenomena of hurricane, earthquake, tsunami. All of this start with a small tremor. If you look at the earthquake, you start with a small tremor. If you look at the fault line in California, every day, every minute, at least 2, 3, 5, 6 tremor happening. Basically, this is a build-up for a major event. The other things is that, the everyday life. You wake up in the morning, you have a challenge, you have a situation, you're disorganized, you have a big list, shopping list, you want to do something, your work is not working, searching for a job, searching for, to build your life itself. So the chaos is very fascinating for phenomenon. It has the complexity and also it has the interconnect. It does not work by itself, but it is really part of have a significant unexpected outcome. You're predicting something will happen, but something will never happen, or basically the event will be bigger than what has happened initially. So this is what is chaos. So basically it comes chaos to unpredictability. Okay, the key aspect is unpredictable. You don't know what will happen. It's not like it is not a linear. You put something, you expect the output will come. All the time there is basically they call it, the curveball, which is basically hit you and you will go to a different things. In nature is very, very good example of unpredictability. Yani the hurricane, it could be start small, far away from you, and then start building up, collecting moisture, and the temperature will be involved, and then suddenly you will hit and cause a major destruction event on you. So what is the interesting things about the chaos? The chaos has a theory, which is probably most of you know that or don't. So basically what the theory it goes about, this came with my mathematics or physics, is the study of complex system whose behavior is highly sensitive to initial condition. The initial condition is basically is very sensitive to it, and then will cause the dramatic effect. That's the reason they call it the butterfly effect, and I'll explain it to you in the next chart. Um, chaos, what is interesting about the chaos is that it reveals an order of a pattern. So the pattern and behavior, which is basically is repeated itself, but is random because you don't expect, the initial what you enter in it in the first place. So what is the butterfly effect? This is a pictorial diagram. If you look at the bottom of the diagram here, at the bottom left corner, where is the small butterfly here? The reason behind is they use the butterfly theory. A butterfly, when it's basically flag its wing, it produces a wave. This wave, if there's a butterfly in Brazil, when if slide its wing, is going to introduce a wave. This wave will travel because we have a medium, which is the air. And that wave will keep moving. It depends on the initial condition and what's going to face. It's going to be built up until it comes to the top of the curve where you are there, which is in a red suit, where you have the drastic event, which is we're going to hit you. So between the initial wave, which is produced by the butterfly, and the actual event hit you, there is a lot of things you have to know and predict and prepare yourself for it. So really, the simplest way is that to explain it in a mathematical formula, which is most of you know it. A velocity, which is could be an impact, is really a equation of the frequency and the wavelength. The wavelength is basically the amplitude of the wave itself. Is very far and away. You can see it is a big one. As come closer and closer, the wave becomes smaller and smaller. The frequency gets higher, and the wavelengths get higher, and then suddenly it get hit you. I give you a good example it's happened in the Mongols, the Mongol Empire. The Mongol Empire basically, how I read it is that they control maybe 3/3 or half a quarter of the world. Really what they did is that all the cities in front of them, they fall before even they come there. What they did, they use very strategy is that basically they come as a Mongol horde, they call them. And because of their army, they moving very fast. Basically, the event of the people hearing about it, if they start in Tibet, to Samarkand or Baghdad, these cities already fall before them they come, because that's basically what comes to the chaos theory they created. So that one good example of the chaos theory. The chaos theory is really applied to anything from economy to nature to war to life to everything you think about it. Is the only thing is that people not aware that an event happening somewhere 100 years ago or 50 years ago, they think themselves they are immune from it, what is going to be hit them. And basically, this is what they call it, the naive. You don't need to be naive with yourself, so you need to be observant, and we're going to show that in the slide later. What are the key characteristics of the chaos theory or الخصائص الchaos theory? I couldn't find the translation for chaos. تقدر تسويها اضطرابات، تقدر تسميها unpredictable. ما لقيت انه فد كلمه بالعربي. يمكن استاذ عبد الله يسعفنا بكلمه بحيث تنطبق عليها بالمستقبل. الخصائص مالتها هي 4، بس انا بس حركز على 3. is non-linear. احنا نعرف انه the predictability is a linear mechanism. انه you expect, you put your card in the machine of the bank, you expect to get a $50. You're going to spend the money to get a value for the $50. So, but in the chaos is non-linear. It could be the initial income, the initial input will be totally different than the outcome will come later. The thing is that is endormistics, which is unpredictable chaos, is that meaning that their future behavior is not guaranteed, is going to be determined by the initial condition. An example is the tsunami. Most of the people, they think the tsunami is caused by the wave and cause the destruction. Is actually no. It just is a byproduct. The initial cause of it is a volcano or earthquake happen in the middle or far away in the ocean. And basically, in the condition, it's just become perfect as the wave come along, is it's got the amplitude is increased as it hit the wave and basically cause the destruction. The tsunami is not really the cause of the event. It's actually is a byproduct of another event happening in the past. The other characteristics of it is a fractal. Fractal is that basically is a self-similar pattern. If you look to the cloud, to the rain, to the forming of it, is a similar pattern in a repetitive pattern itself. The application include everything from nature to economy to engineering to biology to politics, you name it. It's applied to any time, at every time, at any time in the world. So just remember, it is a nonlinear, dermistics, and a fractal. Those three characteristics we're going to talk about. So this is the key. The initial human being, they know they يحبون stability. And predictive. I want to wake up in the morning. I expect I get my breakfast, 2 eggs with a coffee. I expect my car has a gas. I drive my car. I go to the work. It's all about predictive. We don't like to change. The other thing is security, because you are expecting to get the something you are expecting to have it. Routine. A human being defining a routine is very difficult to break the routine. And also, when you have stability and predictability and security, very easy to build your life on that. You expect the growth and the development, everything, as they say, all the chips fall in place. بالإضافة إلى social cohesion مالت. So at the end of the day is that, stability, sense of security, and all of that. That's what the reason we like to have stability. So, but another term, another coin, ليش الhuman being they like chaos? Why we live in chaos? أكو قسم من الناس يحبون يعيشون في chaos, في dynamic all the time. There is something happening. They cannot keep things on their toes, type of thing. So, is part of curiosity and exploration. Without chaos, basically, you will not able, the human will challenge themselves. We have to understand the phenomena. They want to basically, get a man or a woman on Mars, and then you want to get to explore the space itself, and also challenge and the growth. Without a chaos, if everything is stable and routine and everybody happy and everybody has a job and everything is become, meaningless. So that's the reason is that chaos is part of our ecosystem we live in. We love it, like excitement and a thrill. Okay, you talk about it, there's a chaos happening, how people survive, and very. When you go through chaos, when people, like what happened in California recently, and the fire started and people losing their houses and everything, people start thinking, thinking about the environment, thinking about the rain. And what happened in California is a perfect example of the chaos theory. It's basically California used to be in the middle of the valley, what they call the Naka Valley, used to be a huge lake. In 50 years or 100 years, the lake, they drain the lake, they build houses, they use all the underground water. There is no rain, no vegetation. This is perfect examples of a chaos theory is going to happen. A small event, which is people like what they think today, that climate change. Climate change, no, this is like, is a lousy thing. There's no climate change. Everything is perfect. It's basically, this is where you enter the denial phase. But it's going to hit you. Like I just read on the news before this presentation, a snow in Texas, a snow in the city, which is they do the event in it. How come a snow in Texas or northern of Texas? So all these events has a relationship to it. So we talked about it, why human being are like it, but at the end of the day, is part of the human being genuinity to understand, to be better, and all of that. Because a human being is one only the, I call it, smart or dumb animal was able to basically utilize all nature to himself. So we talk about economy. So there is a few slides on economy. So that will, I'll just go. I'm not going to read every slide. So we'll use the use case first. Remember, there are three characteristics: nonlinear, deterministic, and fractal. So we have the lecture a couple of, I think last year, about the black swan. When the economy, the chaos theory applied to it perfectly, is basically uncertainty, volatility of the economy on market. The black swan is basically sometimes you plan a lot of things and something hits you from the left field. That's what the black swan take effect. And all the time, the policy basically drive, economical chaos. So this is a chart basically showing all the from 1960 until 2020. If you can see, it is, we can apply the chaos theory. Every 5-7 years there is a downturn in the market, people losing their money, some people become rich, and the cycle goes along. Is non-linear behavior, and all of that because of a small event happened before that and build as actually to the crash to itself. So like we'll pick up, the oil crash in 1980, the Mexican peso crisis in 1985, the dot-com crash. If you have people, I think we remember all of us dot-com. Before the dot-com, the internet just came along as a new phenomenon. Everybody get on this bandwagon. Company basically building up, stock market went high, and suddenly there is no foundation for it. Everything is collapsed, and that's what become the dot-com itself. The great financial crisis, we talk about it, is the same thing. Is that as a human being, they try basically to become very creative and create this collateral, marketing statement, and that was basically, they know what they are. I believe there few people, they know what they are doing, but the rest of the people, they don't know. And basically, people join the chaos, and the chaos basically get hit them. So that show you is non-linear. The initial event not necessarily drastically is impacting the outcome of it, plus basically then predictability of it. So whenever you see a butterfly next to a point, that is basically, you can apply the butterfly theory to it. 1929 crash is a speculation, all about it. There is a few points, but I'm just focusing on the one which is, I think, is that you can apply the chaos theory to it. Speculation. Even today, the company valuation, how much the company worth today is exaggerated. How come a company worth, let's talk Apple as an example. How come Apple worth $3 trillion? Okay. Before, basically, if you have a product, the product has a price, and this is how the company being valuated. Basically, how much the company worth, how much employee they have, how much asset they have. You add all your asset. If you go bank, you apply to a mortgage today, the bank will ask you, what is your asset? What is your liquid asset, and what is non-liquid asset? Is actually the bank, they put it together. That's what actually worth. But how come Apple worth $1 trillion? Is a people sentiment. People believe that Google or Apple worth $3 trillion. But actually, if you say, okay, what is the product you have? You put it all together, it's not worth $3 trillion. It's all about perception. So that's speculation, and it's going to happen for us in the next few years. Major financial crisis. 1929, 2008, we talk about it. There are smart bankers came together. They created, collateral mortgage. They get a good mortgage, bad mortgage. They put it together, and so it's basically, there is a few people know what they are doing, but the rest of the people, without reading and understanding and go to it, basically they just take it as a face value. Sometimes you have to think, okay, is it true, or something is going to hit me to that? In 2008, was a major crisis. There's a few financial institutions gone, like Lehman Brothers, Washington Mutual, Bear Stearns, IndyMac Bank, Northern Rock, and a few others. But if I read the books about the 2008 financial crisis. Do you know that all these banks was actually a scapegoat, and especially Lehman Brothers? Lehman Brothers is one of the merchant bank established in 1876 or something like that. It's actually all the crisis is caused by J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan and the other guy, the other bank, is actually they own most of the, they call it the mortgage instrument. But we go back to the too big to fail thing. So what they did, they failed this small bank because J.P. Morgan is too big to because will cause a catastrophe in the market and will hit the financial market. So all the time there is some people who get sacrificed as the people lose their money. So the crisis also led to significant. So, but we talk about why we like chaos. Chaos is good because what happened is that after that, the government and everything, they came and do an intervention and did a bailout, and they created more law to protect the citizen. But all of the people lost their money. Lehman Brothers, they're using high leverage, which is basically applied to the theory of itself. Enron is all basically cooking the financial book. Basically, that we go back to what actually the company worth. Now, that the company didn't worth anything because the board of director and the CEO was basically cooking the books itself. And then we go back to the financial crisis, is that what did it cause after 2008? People lost their job, people lost their money, people lost their houses, people lost their saving and all of that. So the initial, you see the butterfly when it hit with wing, there is a few bankers, they are sitting on a golf course, say, okay, how are we going to make money? Okay, let's get a good mortgage, bad mortgage, put it together and sell it as an instrument and we insure it. Basically, that's the small effect. And everybody start joining the bandwagon. So that the small dramatic effect, nobody investigate, okay, what is the instrument? If there is, something behind it, what is it all that? And just recently, Mark Carney, the Bank of Canada, there used to be a Bank of Canada, they asked him Canada did not hit by the financial crisis. And he said it, he answered it very nicely. He said, I didn't understand what they are doing. If I understood what they are doing, probably we will join them. That's the reason he prevent the Canadian bank to get to it. If you don't understand something, how you join them? So that is basically the care. And then Nortel Telecom, if everybody know about it, the CEO, basically he was falsifying the book, and it's always come to management. So I'd give you a few examples that, it could be a management, it could be size, it could be, the valuation of the company and all of that, which is basically, it has an impact. And a small change, an event, we say, okay, yeah, don't worry about it. We just cook the book now and then, but has a dramatic event as you go along. This is example of the Nortel cooking the book. I'll give you the presentation and you could read it. Here is a very good example of excess reserve. So the executive, they manipulated the financial statement by basically falsifying the earning statement. If you work in a company, there is what they call it the pipeline. So actually there is a contract already signed, which is basically they call it money in the bank. And there is basically, they call it the funnel, which is the funnel. Basically, they expected that people would sign this contract. So usually that funnel, which is basically 3 or 4 times, you send the contract, you send the proposal, you send everything, and you hope, people will sign it. That they call it the funnel, the pipeline. Usually the pipeline does not really translate to signing. The signing is actually that what the, excessive, falsifying that, the value of the company itself. After this chaos, all these financial things, is that, so what did happen? actually, there's a good things came out of it. There is more key regulation on the financial institutions and law. There is the Security Act for 1933, the Security Act of 1934. But if you see, from 1933, from 1940, the Investment Act, 1940, the only next act, you see, between 1940 and 2002. So instead of regulation and change, it had to be happen at least every year review. You see that until they call the Sarbanes-Oxley Act 2002, basically to protect the investor. You see where is the gap? 1940 and 2002 until the actually regulation to protect the investor. Now, if you go to the bank, you're buying a mutual fund, they give you 5, 6 paper, and I'm sure you're not going to read that. All the fine print, what is your responsibility, what is your how to protect you, and all of that. And then the Financial Act of 2002. So there is a good things came out of chaos. There is a law to protect consumer, to protect company, to protect nobody who can falsifying, financial statement. So there is also a regulation on the act they created, to protect the accounting. Before, the CEO of the company is not responsible to sign on the financial statement. Now, the CEO had to sign on financial statement and his neck on the line to do that. So now we talk about empire. I hope I'm doing well with the time. So I think we have another 15 minutes or more. So what about empire? So we did apply to the economy. We are going to apply to the empires. So now question, why empire fall? Is actually two things where you see the butterfly indicator. Empire fell usually either for political corruption and ineffective leadership. And we can see it along the history. The other things, empire basically becomes stagnated, become closed in, does not see what is coming, does not basically invest in technology, culture changes and shift. Basically they just take the status quo. I am strong. I've been there for 400 years. So that made the main two reasons why will be definitely the economy, but these are the two main reasons why empire fell. So we take a few examples of Khilafah al-Abbasiyya. Abbasiyya Khilafah. Why Abbasiyya Khilafah? Is a Mongol invasion. Okay. But Mongol invasion is just one product. One thing is basically to destroy the whole empire. But went through corruption, not basically all these basically small things, which is the butterfly effect. Economy can downturn, empire become too big to control. There is a feud between all the between the ruler itself, not investing in the army. Plus, the Mongol, when they came with the sheer forces basically to destroy the empire, and they invaded the whole things. So that the Mongol is not really cause the empire to fail. Is the last thing where is the wave or the velocity becomes so severe and they came along. Basically, is the empire went through a decline phases, and the Mongol is basically, as they say in business, you come and finish the business. That's the recent thing they did. One text here. Why the Byzantine Empire fell? Basically, is the rising of the Ottoman Empire, because these guys believer, they want to conquer everything, and basically they are bigger army, more motivated to fight for the Sultan. But again, it's not because of rise of the Ottoman Empire. It also went to economical decline. You come to the point there. And then why the Ottoman Empire fell? Again, economical decline. You see, economy is the key word here. If you have the strong economy, you control the rest of the world, or basically you have the upper hand itself. But World War I, which is basically finished the Ottoman Empire. But if you look to the butterfly theory, the World War I came out of it a lot of things, and until today we are suffering from it. So remember the event happened in 1919, the Versailles Conference. the Versailles Conference, when they get mad and divided the cake, and say you're this part for it. At that time, if you look at that region, you see people nobody knew about what's happening in the Versailles, rooms, correct? But you see the butterfly, when it starts, swinging its wing, basically we didn't get the impact, or we didn't get the shock until 1960, 1970, and 1980 and today. So the impact has come along, until the wavelength and the frequency get hit as hard. So an event happened in the past, my point here, do not discard it. It has a consequences. When you see people talking, the lousy people, whoever, say talking about something, you have to read between the line, because, this is a chaos theory, definitely will happen. Why the Roman Empire fell is basically the rise of the Eastern Empire itself, economical challenges again. Okay, so what is the sign of chaos? I'm coming to my end of my presentation. So we talked about economy, we talked about empire, we talked about leadership. So how we come to use the chaos theory in our life to help us? Okay, economy. Scare of resources. People need oil, need mineral, need everything. So there is all the time fight in Africa, fight in somewhere else, because resources, you need to build a ship, you need to, to feed your people, you need, a lot of things. So economy is the major part of it. What is the sign of chaos? When you see the law of order, is the law and order, interference to jurisdiction, basically تدخل في القضاء. You see, the law is the upper hand. Doesn't matter, you cannot be above the law. When you see the people start interfering in the law, and we saw this a good example for it, this is a sign of chaos. The sign of chaos, maybe you don't feel it now, but it's coming. It's coming, not now, maybe 5 years, maybe 6 years or 2 years. Another phenomenon which has never existed before in any empire, the ultra super rich interference. And because it's all about personal gain, it's all about chaos, about ego. I want to show up. I want to, show up, in the field. I want to raise my hand. I need anybody to know me, correct? So that is very dangerous one. World political polarization, and we see it today. This is a sign of chaos. Social media is the worst thing that's happened to humanity because of domination, changing fact, changes the truth. People hook up to their cell phone, swiping. And they doing some statistic is actually the most exercised finger is your finger, this one, I don't know what's called. You're swiping. So that's the most exercised part of the body. Education and knowledge become very shallow. Nobody invests in basically in research, try to do analysis, try to put one on one. Become basically, I called it the McDonaldization. People want the information already on a plate, given to them, read it, doesn't matter if it's true or not. So that's a problem. Basically piecemeal, bite size, they want to chunk, tie yourself. Nobody goes spend time in the library, nobody read a book type. And I'm not saying, but majority. But what most dangerous is the intellectual elite. The intellectual elite got marginalized, basically put aside, there is no basically people expressing their opinion. And we saw it recently, 3 prestige university, head of university got knocked out. World institution demonized, basically, if you remember the World War I, after the World War I, it came out basically the عصبة النation, I think, عصبة الأمم المتحدة, I don't know what's called, and then become the United Nations. Something came out of it. Now, everybody wants to get out of it. So basically, world institutions get demonized. This is not the right place to be there. Thoughtful leadership, absence, does not exist. But also most dangerous, nepotism. Basically, أني وخالي وبن عمي وعشيرتي وهاي taking all the position. Nepotism they call it. Basically مصالح شخصية, مصالح العشيرة, مصالح الشخصية. عمي وخالتي وبنت خالتي كلهم يحصلون بالمناصب العالية. But another one, which is basically bureaucratic. Bureaucrat replacing bureaucrat. I'll explain to you a very good example. British Empire ruled India, 500 million people at that time, with many provinces, 500 religion or maybe more. Only the elite by the British Empire, they run whole India, 16,000 between generals and intellectual. They rule whole India. All this is run by bureaucrats, sorry. Bureaucratic creating a law, they know the things. You're replacing these bureaucrat, basically we spent 30, 40 years learning laws and institution and all of that. Now is basically the situation we have celebrity, salespeople taking high position. So it's become that causing a lot of. So this is a sign of chaos. It could be applied to any time in the world. Okay, we'll not talk about it here. So what I'm going to leave you with. So what I left you with you after listening to me for 45 minutes. Be observant. Be aware of your ecosystem. And another one important, do not be naive. Do not basically swipe it on the carpet. Think about it. Think about the event around you. Be prepared, and then basically look for a pattern. Look for a event. Is this event is connected to each other or not? That's my summary. But I'm going to leave you one last slide. Basically, I create a picture. I like to draw using a PowerPoint. So basically, I started with an idea. I have an idea, it's a bulb, correct? So I am here on the left. I have an idea to write about chaos. So what I did, I created, a theme, okay? I know what is this. I create a story, let's call it. And this story has, each story, I questions. So I have an idea, I create a story, and I have created a list of questions. And then I use AI, and AI give me an answer. From the answer, I start asking questions. And the questions give me an answer, and the question give me back. And then basically, I went back and refined my story, correct? And then at the end of the day, I create the refinement. I did verify the information. And then basically, I created the presentation. The material in the presentation, 90% for it, the material is actually came from AI. And the 10%, which is basically the summary and the slide and all of that, is mine. So the reason I put this one, I would like to encourage everyone to have an idea. Maybe you have a better idea than this one, and then you start creating and participate in our Tuesday meeting. So my last slide, of course, I have to thank you, and then may the butterfly be with you, which is similar what the John Lucas movie Star Trek. May the butterfly, maybe the force be with you. And I hope I took your journey through on the butterfly wing for the last 45 minutes, and I actually enjoyed it and we learned something. Have a nice day. Okay. Thank you.